Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the final days of Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Ends Monday. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Progressive knows RV owners like to travel at a nice, relaxing pace. Just like this commercial. They're not rushing to a departure gate at the airport because they depart from their driveway. And they can relax even more knowing they're protected by Progressive. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
ASU football. This is the State of the Sun Devils pregame show with Jeremy Schnell, Jesse Morrison, and Damon Allred.
Live on ESPN 620, the Arizona Sports app, and streaming on the Arizona Sports YouTube channel. It's the State of the Sun Devils pregame show alongside Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. Number 12 ASU taking on Mississippi State today down in Starkville, Mississippi. They don't have very many hotels, I heard, Jesse.
Well, they don't have very many hotels that are the size that can fit a team like ASU that doesn't have a casino. People need to understand that.
And that has the right
Kenny
food.
Dillingham's comments from Monday.
Well, Damon, the story took a life of its own, did it not? I mean, like, Kenny Dillingham was obviously making some jokes. That was kind of taken care of when he went on the Barstool podcast the other day, talked to a Mississippi State fan on there. So I feel like the Mississippi State fans kind of understand now where he was coming from, but it did take on a life of its own.
Yeah, I was there Monday when Kenny first said it and didn't even feel like that big a deal in the moment to me. It was just like, all right, this is one of Kenny's typical times where he's making the room laugh. And, you know, it's always good vibes in those Monday pressers with Kenny Dillingham. But for it, I mean, are we just going to get this every week where there's something off the field that is a talking point?
Yeah, you know, coaches don't like that, but like the other team's coach can use it as bulletin board material. So maybe we'll see that this week.
The fan base can use it as bulletin board material.
Yeah, sure. Going back to last year, though, Arizona State taking on Mississippi State. In Tempe, it was a 30-23 victory. ASU was up 30-3 at one point, I believe, guys. So Mississippi State really came back swinging in that second half, but maybe some animosity this year. A team that is looking to get ASU back for beating them last year, Damon.
And a team that went 2-10 last year in Jeff Lebby's first year as head coach, and so they're still looking for their first signature win with Jeff Lebby as head coach. That fan base sure would love to get it against this team.
Yeah, it's going to be a hostile environment, obviously, with the cowbells.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Yes, thank you, Christopher Walken.
Yeah, that will be a tough environment for Arizona State. I think this is going to be the toughest environment they've walked into since the Utah game in 2023. So ASU cannot sleep on this Mississippi State team, even though they were picked last in the SEC.
Well, what's the environment going to be like? Let's talk to someone who knows quite a lot about this environment. Kyson Brown going home to Mississippi. We talked to him the other day on State of the Sun Devils. Take a listen. Kyson, how's it going, man?
It's good. I'm doing well. I can't complain. Definitely ready to, keep going to this game.
All right. First of all, how many family members, how many friends you got coming to this game?
Just couldn't even tell you. I just know it's a lot. Just know I know my family asked me to get as many tickets as I can. So I definitely know it's gonna be a lot of family and friends coming out.
So will it be? Will they be rooting for you, or are they, sticking with the hometown team in Mississippi State?
I think the majority of them, for me, if they want to win the team, I know they'll be rooting for me. So.
Nice one.
Nice. Good answer. All right, let's get to what happened with NAU. Obviously, you guys came out with the win, but there's still some stuff left on the table that you guys wanted to work on this week. What would you say that you and the running backs group focus on the most?
I'd say for our group, I think we focused more just on pass protection, simply because I think, our group, we can do all the other stuff, like, like it's second nature, like, we know how to run the ball. We know how to catch the ball. That's not a question. But I think just being more dialed into the protections, I think that's something we strive to, be the best at. So I think coming into this week, I think we want to be perfect on all our pass protections. We want to protect them, give them a good pocket. So I think that's something that we've been harping on just, this week.
And you mentioned it right there with Sam. Just for the people who don't know and see practice every day, like some of the media do and things like that, how would you describe Sam as a leader for the people who don't see that?
I think he's absolutely just the perfect guy to lead this team. Just for the simple fact, like, he always brings it every day. He always brings the same, competitive version of himself. He wants to get everything right. He wants to be the perfect. He wants to be the best, and that's the leader you need to, bring up your teammates and help around. So I think just him and his competitive nature is a want to be better every day. I think that's just something people don't get to see.
Could you kind of take us through the fake punt from this past weekend and just kind of what was going through your head? And was that something that Kenny and the other coaches had talked about maybe running, coming into the week?
Oh, yeah. So we had been drawing that up all week from the beginning of the week since we first started studying them. We knew it was going to hit. So I feel like our coaches do a great job in scheming up some things. And I was walking in the hallway and they said, "Hey, we got a fake for you this week." And I was like, "Let's do it." So when I first seen it, and it was more like an outside zone play, I already knew we were going to get it. And we had been hyping it up all week. Coach Rago, special teams coordinator coach, he had been telling me, keep putting it in Coach Dilly's head to run it. Keep putting it in his head to run it. It's like, we're going to get it if we run it. And I was like, yeah, we're going to get it. So, yeah, he said, Coach Dilly was like, yeah, we're up. If we're up, we're going to run it. If we're down, we're going to run it. And, we had no doubt we were ever going to be down. So once I heard him say, if we're up, we're ready, I knew we were going to run it. So I think I had just came off the field. I thought it was just going to be a regular punt situation. And then they said, "Hey, it's Tom," and then we called it lumberjack. So, yeah.
It's called lumberjack.
Yeah, it was called lumberjack. So whenever I heard the call, I already knew what it was going to be. But I was very disappointed that I didn't score. Looking back at it, I feel like I should have cut back or did some other things, like just to try to get more in the end zone. But yeah, it was good. It was a good thing.
You finished with 70 plus rushing yards and 70 plus receiving yards. Only one other guy in FBS did that so far this season. Another guy who was a big rushing and receiving guy was your predecessor, Cam Scadaboo, who, I'm sure you learned so much from backing him up for 2 years. What can you say about just what you've learned from him?
Yeah, just know how to go about the game as a pro. Just watching him for those 2 years, I could truly say, like, he's been the same person on and off the field. That same passion y'all see on the field, the same toughness y'all see. Like, he's like that in practice, and he's like that in the film room, or if we're studying or looking at some plays or something. Like, he has that same type of edge. Like, I could truly say he kind of, I feel like he feels like he's just, nobody can like stop him or whatever. So I think I just learned that confident edge of just coming in as a freshman, trying to learn some things, and even as a sophomore playing behind him, it's kind of hard when you don't get as many touches and to get the flow of the game. So I think just learning that confident edge from him and just understanding how to go about your business and be a pro.
All right, Mississippi State this week. What are you guys kind of just looking to clean up from the NAU game in Starkville this weekend?
Yeah, I think we're just looking to just know what our true identity is. Of course, we had penalties, and we probably had a couple MAs, and I think those were the little things that kept us from playing our identity of football. And I think we just want to get back to playing our identity of football this week. So I think it's, being more disciplined and execution of, plays and, just formation. So I think those are the things that we're looking to do this weekend. I think after this week of practice, I think we've been doing a really good job at, being disciplined and, getting lined up and, just knowing our stuff.
Obviously, the cowbells are a big deal down there at Mississippi State. You all have been blasting practice this week. How has the communication gone with the offense with the cowbells ringing at practice?
Yeah, I think everybody's just been strictly to overly communicate, and I think we've been doing that pretty well. Just overly communicating, understanding that those antics are probably going to be going pretty much the whole entire game until we shut them up. So I think we're just looking to overly communicate and make sure everybody's on the same page.
Thanks to Kyson Brown for joining us on State of the Sun Devils. We really appreciate it. If you want to watch the full interview, that's on the Arizona Sports YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast as well. When we come back, we're going to get into this game, see what ASU is looking for on Mississippi State's side. This is the State of the Sun Devils pregame show live on Arizona Sports and ESPN 620.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little hope over here?
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers. Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-838-6767. That's 800-838-6767.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
That nagging joint pain, you know the one. Sometimes it's from years of hard work. Sometimes it's an old injury that never healed properly. Hey, everybody, Dan Bickley here, and QC Kinetics is here to flip the script. They use regenerative medicine, advanced cellular treatments that help your body heal and restore the damage in your joints, not cover it up, not cut it out, actually helping heal and restore, and the results are long-term lasting relief. So instead of planning your day around pain, you're planning it around life. You're walking the dog without stopping. You're playing ball with your kid until they get tired. You're waking up without that first step being the worst step. And at QC Kinetics, there's no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. So bring your MRI and your x-rays. They'll make sure you're a good candidate, and your first consultation is free, so don't wait. You can find them in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Peoria, and Chandler. You can call them at 602-837-PAIN. That's 602-837-PAIN.
Progressive knows there are two things RV owners love: to travel and relax. And they like to take both nice and slow. Just like this commercial. And what's more relaxing than the peace of mind knowing their RV is protected by Progressive? Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and let you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the final days of Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Ends Monday. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
ASU football. State of the Sun Devils pregame show with Jeremy Schnell, Jesse Morrison, and Damon Allred.
Welcome back to the State of the Sun Devils pregame show alongside Jesse Morrison, Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. We're taking you up to the Sun Devil tailgate show with Jeff Munn in just a little bit. Let's talk about Kyson Brown. We just heard from him a little bit before the break, guys. And, you know, him and Raleek Brown, pretty good last week. What do we expect to see from the ASU running game today, Damon?
Well, I think it starts with, one of the questions that we asked to Kyson, which was, do you guys expect that lighter front from Mississippi State that they showed last year when Cam Scatterbo ran for 262 yards? And Kyson said yes. And so from there, right there, I think you want to feel good about ASU's chances in the game overall, just because I think if anyone is going to go circle an area on the Mississippi State defense that you feel like is a strength for the Bulldogs, it's probably the secondary. And so that might, make you lean toward running the ball more anyway. We talk about the 39 pass attempts to 21 rush attempts last week. I don't think that that's real. I think we're going to see something a lot more like what we've seen from Kenny Dillingham coach teams, where it's closer to a 50-50 split. Me and offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo had a nice exchange this week about that very thing. And so I think that they're very aware of that point, and I think they're going to get back to that identity.
Based on the front that we expect Mississippi State to play, and then, the running backs that ASU has, I think that we will see a lot more of a rushing attack from ASU this week than we saw last week. I think this is going to be a game that you see a lot of running the football. Mississippi State has a dynamic duo in their backfield, so I would expect this to actually be a pretty quick game for a college football game, just because I think we're going to see a lot of time being taken off the clock running the football by both teams.
Yeah, and it was interesting last week, Jesse, because in terms of the passing game, we saw a limited amount of people get involved, especially with the wide receivers. Only 2 wide receivers caught the ball last week. Obviously, Tyson went crazy last week, and if he's going on and it's going to help ASU win, feed him the ball. Do you want to see Tyson, someone other than Tyson, get some more chances out there in the receiving game?
Yes, because I want ASU to show that they're able to do that. Because if it's just Tyson, then if he goes down at some point this year, hopefully that doesn't happen. But if he does go down at some point this year, then I'll be very concerned, like last season, that they won't be able to, keep up with a team like a Texas if they played them in the college football playoff. Again, I believe that if ASU had played Texas with Jordan Tyson in the college football playoff, would have been a whole different story, because of some of those red zone opportunities would have been a lot different with Tyson out there.
Yeah, it's amazing. You talk to the players throughout camp, and one of the things that you hear the most is this is an offense with a lot of multiplicity. And I don't think we saw that yet in the NAU game, where Tyson got, I think, all but 6 of the wide receiver targets, and only 2 guys beyond him were targeted at receiver, and Jalen Moss was one of them, and he went out in the game. We don't know if he's going to play today, but I think we'd be leaning toward no. Just from the multiplicity aspect, you'd love to see a guy like Jaron Hamilton get more involved after one snap versus NAU. He was one of the stars of camp, and I think that there are ways that he can beat Mississippi State, and make that defense kind of pay for how it defends. But, it also comes down to just how does Mississippi State attack Jordan Tyson? We heard Kenny mention, they didn't double him. They're an exotic defense, and so they played him straight up. I think if Mississippi State does not do that, and if they are doubling, that's when you can start to see the ball get spread around some more.
Also, I'd like to see the tight ends get a little bit more involved than we saw last week. I think that was interesting to see that Shamon only had 1 catch, I believe, last week. I would like to see Shamon get 2, 3, 4, 5 catches this week, maybe get in the end zone. I think that ASU ASU's tight end room is really strong this year, and they need to utilize that more than they did last week against NAU. And because I think, again, that's one of their strengths this season. That's one of their strengths.
Yeah, and if they do want to get the running game involved, it's also going to be through the quick and short passing game as well. So you're going to see people like Raleek Brown get touches through
And
the
the tight
screen
ends.
game or in the slot, and the tight ends exactly, whether it's, a short pass, 5-yard out, something like that. ASU can't always rely on the long passes to bail them out if they're getting behind the sticks on first and second down. They need to plug away at the short passing game as well, Damon.
Yeah, staying ahead of the stick is such a big key against a Mississippi State team, especially considering the tempo that they run on offense. You don't want your defense to be getting off the field quickly, or you want your defense to be able to get off the field quickly, and you don't want your offense to kind of have short drives that make the defense even more tired than they're going to be.
That's a good point. Let's talk about this Mississippi State team. Last week, they beat Southern Miss 34-17. It was a road game. Southern Miss, no, it's not an easy opponent, but it's a team that an SEC team should be handling. So a 17-point win doesn't fill Mississippi State fans with a lot of confidence, you would
It was
think.
10-10 at one point.
Yeah,
But
so
it was also 34-10 at one point, and then there was a late touchdown scored by similar to the ASU
yes,
game. So
exactly.
I think you take that score with a grain of salt.
So it's a high-paced offense that ASU is going to be facing against today. Blake Shapen, okay quarterback, pretty good quarterback, showed that in the second half against ASU last season. What should we expect from this Mississippi State offense today?
This offense does not like you to be able to take breaths. They do not like you to be able to substitute. They are going to keep it moving as much as they can and cut off substitution as much as they can. And I think that for an ASU defense that has passed this test already last year, getting an alignment correctly, that was the biggest key that Brian Ward harped on this week. And I just think that the fact that it's going to be so many guys returning from a defense that has already faced this test, and obviously it's going to be a little bit better in year 2 than in year 1, but I think that they're going to be able to handle that from that standpoint.
I think the big thing for ASU today is going to be stopping the run. You look at Devon Booth and Fluff Bothwell. What a name. They're the dynamic duo running back room for Mississippi State. They both had really good games last week. 2 touchdowns for Bothwell, I believe, 1 for Booth last week. And I think if ASU stops the run, then they can focus on slowing that tempo down.
Not necessarily something I'm worried about with the ASU defense at this point.
I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying that's the key for them is to stop the run, because then that will get Mississippi State out of their rhythm and out not moving as quickly, because they can't just run the ball, hurry up.
Yeah, out of that clock game.
Yeah, they'll be forced to throw it. There might be some incompletions. ASU might be able to get some sacks. Let's hopefully see that today.
Man, I was just about to bring that up.
From ASU.
Some blitzes, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe some blitzes. That would be good to see, and then that can really disrupt the flow of the Mississippi State offense. And I think those will be the keys for ASU to stop this offense of Mississippi State. That Blake Shapen was pretty good last year before he went out with his injury, and I think
he was good last week too.
Yeah, and he was good last week. So this is going to be a big test. Like, I don't think people should be sleeping on this game at all.
No, absolutely. Real quick on the defensive side for Mississippi State, what players should ASU fans be looking out for on the defensive side for them?
Yeah, I've got 3 names, kind of one at each level. Defensive line, you got an SEC Defensive Player of the Week and Will Whitson, who's 6'5", 295, had a sack and 2.5 tackles for loss last week. It's a pretty good game for a defensive lineman. And then kind of at that middle level, you have a hybrid linebacker type, Isaac Smith. Listen to this. He played snaps at defensive line, in the box, at slot corner, and at free safety last week. This guy just plays everywhere. And he had a game of 20 tackles last year against Tennessee. That was the only Power 4 game of 20 tackles.
Wow.
So
he's a beast out there.
Yeah, definitely a guy to watch out for, Isaac Smith. And then cornerback Kelly Jones. He's just a redshirt sophomore and a little bit inexperienced, but 6'4", and he's probably going to get the bulk of the Jordan Tyson matchup.
Yeah, and Jesse, I did want to go back to ASU's defense real quick. If they want to limit Shapen on offense, they need to get to him. And it goes back to the blitz thing that Damon brought up. And it also goes back to the fact that only one outside linebacker or defensive lineman got a sack last week for ASU.
Yes, I want to see this front seven get to the quarterback. I want to see them get to the quarterback early in the game. We didn't see a sack from ASU until late in the first half, and it was from cornerback Keith Abney last week. So I think ASU needs to get to the quarterback early in this game. And if they start getting to the quarterback early in this game, it could be a long day for Mississippi State.
All right, let's get to predictions. Damon, what do you think is going to happen in this one?
I'm feeling 31-10, or not 31-10, excuse me, 31-20, excuse me. I just think that the protection is still going to be a little bit of an issue, and so the offense isn't going to have quite the day we were hoping for. Just from a sharpness standpoint, I do think there are going to be some areas where they get bogged down a little bit. But other than that, I think it should be a pretty smooth game. I mean, they had Mississippi State's number in a big way last year, and I think that this coaching staff will have that edge again.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tough game for Arizona State. I really do. I think it would not surprise me if ASU loses this game. It wouldn't. SEC environment on the road, all those cowbells. I think that Blake Shapen's a very good quarterback. I do think ASU pulls this one out, but I think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to say ASU wins 27-24 on a field goal by Jesus Gomez.
So I was listening to Bickley Murata the other day, and they brought up the fact that Mississippi State, in all of their losses last season, they gave up 30 points or more in every single one of their losses. ASU was the least amount of points scored against the Mississippi State team. So with that being said, I think ASU still scores 30 points today, and I think this is going to be closer than people think. I think it's going to be 35-28. ASU wins this one. And with that, that's going to do it for this edition of the State of the Sun Devils pregame show. Thanks to Kyson Brown for joining us today. We really appreciate him talking to us before this big homecoming trip for him. You can follow us on all forms of social media at AZ Sports Devils. For Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. Jeff Munn is up next with the Sun Devil Tailgate Show here on Arizona Sports and ESPN 620.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000,